What's up, builders? Welcome to today's Buildable Office Hours for Thursday, June 26th, 2025. I'm James, and I'm excited to be hosting today's session. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. I'm going to be showing a credit card tracking app that I built for myself. And just to give you a little backstory on why I decided to build this app, I get a little personal, but that's okay. So my wife and I were in a little bit of debt a few years ago, and then we got on the whole Dave Ramsey train, and worked real hard at getting out of debt. So paid off all of our credit cards, anything that we owed, we paid. Finally got out of debt. Realized that we can be responsible with money, and after talking with my brother actually put me onto this since we are, we realized we could be more responsible, decided to take advantage of credit cards and all the offers that credit cards had, and the bonuses, the cash back, all that good stuff. So we decided to go ahead and do that. And after, a couple months into it, we realized we had a lot of credit cards, and it was kind of hard to manage all of it, the payments, the what card to use for what situation. So I looked for an app out there, didn't really find anything that gave me exactly what I was looking for, and decided let me give it a shot on Buildable, see what I could do. And it actually it works really, really well. So that's what I'm going to be going into today, and kind of showing you what I built and the things that it could help with. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Okay, so you should be familiar with Buildable by now. If not, I'll give you a quick rundown of what I sort of built here just for the demo purposes. It's a little bit of a scaled down version of what I built for my wife and myself, but pretty much we'll give you an idea of what I built and what it could do. So here are the tables in this app, and it's pretty much a top down. I kind of arranged it so that the parent tables were kind of at the top, and then down to the child tables at the bottom. So we have card holders, right? And that would just be a very simple, basic table, just the name of the card holder. Then we've got the issuers table, and you can see this is going to be the issuing institution. Just a quick little link to the login website there. That's helpful if I'm in Buildable and I want to log in for whatever reason. I could just click and go there. These aren't necessarily accurate. I just kind of threw something in there for today. Let me see if I actually did anything with these forms. This form is just 2 fields, so I didn't bother customizing this form. But of course, you could shrink these fields and move them around to wherever you'd like. All right, and then onto the cards table. So here I just threw in three demo cards. This table is pretty hefty with the fields. I did arrange the form so that it looks nice here. Your basic account info. So you see the relationship here. That's issuer as the parent table. So the issuer can have many cards. The name, the merchant, right? So Visa, MasterCard, your basic merchant. A little typo there, but you get the gist. Card type. So in my personal account, I actually do include some debit cards, which are never used because, like I mentioned, we use credit cards for everything now. The holder, right? So that would be either one of the 2 users that are in that holders table. So that's another relationship. So card holders have cards. That's where you're selecting the parent there. And then, just some other card info, the limit, the monthly due date, right? The approximate draft date, because that could be different depending on where the weekends or holidays are. So that comes in handy later on. And I'll show you that. The date the card was opened, if there's an annual fee, if there was a 0% interest, when you signed up for that card, that info, you can put that here. When that ends, also comes in handy later on. Any annual freebies. So this actually pretty accurate for the Chase card here. You do get a $50 credit for Chase Travel Hotels. And then any other details you want to put in, you can throw down here. Over on the right-hand side, I made a little section for the security verification. Also very handy. I don't know if you've ever been sitting at your computer trying to make a purchase and maybe your cards are upstairs or in the car. Instead of running to get the card, you can open up the record right here, and here's your basic information, all your security information here. So last four of the card, that's used quite frequently. Expiration date, security code, the name as it appears on the card. I know sometimes if you got a bunch of cards, maybe some of them include your middle initial, maybe some don't. So this is just a good way to keep track of that as well. Billing zip, I mean, that should be the same for every card. And then the phone number on the back. You could add whatever information you want on here. I don't know if I'll ever need the phone number on the back, but it's here in case I need it. And then down here, I've just got all the summaries that I created in one little spot. I find that that's a neat way to just keep track. So remember, summaries, that's when you have a parent table and a child table. And when you're on the parent table, you can summarize up info from the children tables. Right, so here you can tell that cards as a parent to statements, payments, and then these are just some other data that you can get from the information on the child tables. Alrighty. Next table down is the spending categories. So of course, different cards you would use for different situations. So I just threw in 3 categories for the purposes of this demo. One of them is dining and restaurants. One is, everything else. So that in the notes there, you can see that would just be a card, or a use for anything that's not already categorized, right? So if you had a card to use for gas, a card that was, that's best used for dining, and then other cards for other things. So anything not categorized, there might be a card that's best used for that. Okay, and then the card strategies table. Now here's where this would be a join table, where we're kind of combining the cards and the spending categories, and that gives the user, an idea of what card to use for what. So just an example here. I didn't make this form look nice. I apologize, but so for gas, it tells me that this card can be used for gas. It tells me what the reward is, and the ranking system would come into play if you had multiple cards that gave you a reward for gas, but one reward was better than another. So let's say you had an American Express card that gave you 3% back for gas, but you have this Costco Anywhere card that gave you 5% if you got gas at Costco, 4% if you got gas anywhere else. So if I had that American Express card in here, that might be a rank 2 then. So kind of very thorough the way this app is built. It gives you all the use cases for all the cards, and then it tells you which one is the best to use. So very, very helpful. Okay, and then going down to the statements table. So here's where you can upload your credit card statements and then input all the information for that particular statement. So here is an example of a statement for that Chase card, the statement date, the billing period. All right, and there is I did do a little dummy statement just for the purposes of this demo. Of course, it'd be nice if statements looked this neat. But all the information that you would need is here. And I basically just took that info from the statement and put it into the fields here. You've got your balance, your due date, okay, and then total payments. That's just a summary field showing there. And then statements table is a parent to payments, right? So here, of course, you'll see the children underneath the child records down here under the payments tab. So we did already enter a payment, and I'll show you that next. All right, so I entered 2 payments in here. We can actually go ahead and do a payment together. So as you can see, I've got a payment scheduled for the Costco card. I've got a payment scheduled for the Chase Freedom card. And let's go ahead and schedule a payment for the other card. That would be the Quicksilver. So here I'm selecting the parent, which is the card for which I'm scheduling the payment. The date, so here's where that draft date, see, that's a lookup field that we're grabbing from the Quicksilver card on the cards table, and we're displaying it here. And right now that comes in handy for when I'm selecting the parent statement. Now in the future, we're going to build this out a little bit further so that when you do drop down to select the parent, that's going to show more information than just one piece of data. So right now, the piece of data that I'm showing is the statement date, but in the future, I won't even need to look at the approximate draft date field to know which one I'm selecting here. And unfortunately, right now, we're also dealing with a little bug that we're going to get knocked out because I could click this to view just to make sure I'm selecting the right record. But currently, we're dealing with a slight issue there, so I'm not going to do that. But this is very helpful, like I mentioned earlier, so I know that I'm selecting the right card. And even if I'm not, it's no big deal. You can go in and just find it and select it that way. And it shows you the card that you're selecting. So this is the card. I can see here that it matches, so I know that's the right card. So it displays the balance and the due date, and those come, again, those are lookups, so it's coming straight from the statement table. Okay, and if it had a 0% promo, that would display here as well. So I would know that this card is still on a no interest promo. So I didn't have to make a full payment on this card. But it doesn't, so I, being the responsible person that I am now, I'm going to make a full balance payment on this. I know what the balance is because it's showing right up there. So I'm going to punch that in. And the draft date, again, I can see up here that it's approximately the 28th of every month. And this one's due on June 28th. So that's probably what I'm going to put here for the draft date. Now, if it happens to be a different date, if the 28th comes and it hasn't been drafted yet, and maybe it gets drafted on the following Monday, the 30th, no big deal. I can come in and change it so that my records are accurate. Okay, and then status, I'm going to schedule it until it's completed. So once that payment does get drafted out of my account, I'll come back in and just mark it as completed. All right, so I'm going to save and close that. There we go. So now we got 3 payments scheduled, and this is probably the number one reason why I decided to build this app, and that's, nobody likes to be surprised when a large amount is drafted out of their checking account. So this kind of helps us just know and be prepared, and that's where this calendar comes into play here, because I can easily see. So here we are today, and I've got 3 payments coming up. I've got the $35 tomorrow, $987 coming out on Saturday, and another $1578 coming out on Sunday. So again, just really helps you, be prepared, know what's coming up, no surprises. Very, very helpful there, extremely helpful. I do just want to show, I'm going to switch over to my, this is the actual app that I built for myself. And I just wanted to show the card strategy table over on my app, because it does have a little more data in it. And it helps illustrate just how helpful this is, especially for my wife, who finds it difficult to keep track of which card to use in which situation. So she could always, pop over to this table, even on her phone, and it would show, would help show the category that she's looking for. So I actually have this report grouped. It's grouped by category, and you can see that here. And then what I did here, so what you could do here is just sort it by the rank, and as you can see, this switched from 2 to 1. Now it's displaying the top rank at the top of the list under dining and restaurants. So we do have 2 cards that you could use for dining that give you points or cash back. but one is slightly better than the other. So that's why it's rank 1, rank 2. Same with gas. We actually have, I mean, we do have the same card, but just, you know, one under my name, one under her name. So that's why this is showing 1, 2, 2, because these are a tie. But it doesn't matter because there's one card that beats out those. So this would be the card that we're using for gas. As you can see, just going down the list here, this is every reward that every card we have offers, and it's kind of all just tracked here. Pretty straightforward. So, I mean, that's basically it. You could get even more complicated with it if you wanted to add a table for, as you can see over here, I actually didn't even start it yet, but I do plan on eventually tracking transactions as well. Don't have anything in this table currently. And even if some of the banks have certain rules that you wanted to keep track of, I did start this, but I do want to eventually build this out even further. So Chase, for example, has a rule, and I can't even remember what the 524 rule is, but it's something about there's like a limit of how many cards you can apply for in a 24-month period. I believe it's 5 cards in 24 months. I'm not sure. I even made a note for myself to copy and paste it from the website in here. But this information could be helpful as well if you wanted to list all the rules, so you know when you could apply for a new card, or any other rules that certain banks may have. That's the app there. We do plan on this app being built for our template library as well. So hey, if you're not signed up for Buildaible yet, sign up for your free account. Take advantage of the apps in our templates and get started and be more organized and responsible with your finances as well. So that's about it. That wraps up the office hours for today. Thanks so much for joining as I walk through the app here. And I know it's more of a personal use example, but it kind of gives a better sense of what's possible with Buildaible. It's very flexible, you know, no code. You can adapt it to your personal situation. If you have any ideas or feedback, questions about building your own apps, feel free to reach out to us or drop a comment. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys again next week.